Hey everyone, and welcome to holy smokes, it's Friday, isn't it? I barely didn't make it. All right, so welcome to Friday's edition of Patriot Crusader Mission Christian Warrior Talk, Strength and Honor edition, because we have made it through another week. And so
Hallelujah.
To everyone who made it through another week, here's to you. Ready?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I am Jason Perry, former Navy SEAL, former Boston SWAT, former atheist, turned into redeemed Christian warrior. And this podcast that you're watching is called Christian Warrior Talk, and it is all about mentoring and creating more Christian warriors, protectors out there in society. Tonight we have some pretty heavy topics to talk about. Tonight we're going to be talking about horrible abortion experiments that Tucker Carlson broke last night. We're also going to talk about how the left is using compassion as a weapon and how to counter that. And then the last topic we'll talk about is what to do when a brother or loved one continues to sin. And that's a discussion because I think that answer is going to be, different for everyone. So those are the topics that I want to get into. If you're new to watching the program, when you hear this,
strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor,
that is when you grab your favorite beverage and take a toast. We try to celebrate good news, people who are doing things right, as well as we celebrate our viewers as they sign on and say where they're from. We kind of do a roll call and we toast everyone for showing up. God knows how, hopefully the show gets really big and we won't be able to do it like that forever, or else we'll be slammed in the first 10 minutes. But, that's the way it is right now, and we love it that way.
Yeah. So if you are on, we're seeing some people on, but not seeing names pop up. So if you want to chime into chat and say hello, you'll get your toast.
Yeah. So let's go over some things this week. So today I just had to change out of my shirt because I'm looking on camera and I'm still covered in mud.
And why were you covered in
mud?
About
30 seconds
Jason?
Ago. Well, we just did something.
He just did something.
We just did something. We went out and got a Polaris XP 1000 Fowler edition. Is that what you call for duck hunters? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, I think so. Stephen Rowley, strength and honor.
Strength and honor, Stephen Rowley.
strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Hey, good to see you.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
So we got that. It's a side-by-side, and it's fast, and it's fun, and it's got a snorkel so we can take it in the water, and it's just awesome.
When our water comes back.
Yeah, when our water comes back.
But yeah, I mean it scaled our mountain with lots of downed little logs and big bumps and all that, no problem.
Yeah,
pretty comfortable ride for all of that.
Yeah, with the shocks, that was really, I was really surprised at how smooth it was. I thought you'd get beat up more, but no.
Yeah, no. B thought it was cool too.
Yeah,
she rode in my lap.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, and
it's gonna be put to work.
Yep,
it is now enlisted to help with the cross.
Yeah, so let's catch people up on the cross. And if you notice me sweating like a pig, it's because we're in the garage and we haven't had time to set up AC. So other people's offices are in very nice, comfy, cool place. Claudette, good to see you.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Well, others have really nice climate-controlled rooms. Some of us get the garage.
Are you going to throw that at me right now? Really? I think the basement's a little cooler right now.
Yeah, go get in the basement, Jason. I'll take the third bedroom. You go in the basement, you. You guys feel my pain. You guys
Did you feel my pain, guys?
So anyways, we're going to be sweating like crazy, and this will be the last show that we do like this, because I'll either be in the basement and moving this all down there, or you will hear the hum of like 14 AC units in here,
Yeah,
keeping this quiet.
Week reached into the hot summer.
Yeah, we hit 87 today.
Was it that?
Yeah. You wouldn't know, flying around on my Ranger.
Got some breeze up in there.
Yeah, got some breeze. Had the windshield off, doors off. I mean, it was awesome, man. It was like riding a motorcycle, but cooler.
The song, if you guys know it, it's a forward bleeping Ranger.
I say like, forward freaking Ranger. I know,
but it's not really.
I know that truck. I ain't no stranger. So I'm like, I know that truck. That's a Ford freaking Ranger. And that's
mine is the Ford.
Yeah, Troy Way, what up?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
You know what? It actually, he deserves a double strength and honor.
Mm-hmm.
He was not only on time.
He was early.
He was early.
So here's Detroit again.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
That's because I need a cold beverage.
So he broke the trend of the Tennesseans.
Yeah, he showed up
on their timeliness.
Early. And with what he said he was going to do. That has been rare in the South, I will say. Rare. Very rare.
So are we going to hook up with Sean Ryan? Does that name mean anything to you?
Who said that? Are you guys going to hook up with Sean Ryan? I don't know.
Who that is? Who's that?
The name sounds familiar. I'm trying to figure out who that is.
Hopefully it's not someone that.
Oh, wait. You're talking about Sean Ryan. Is that the guy, the SEAL who does like the War Stories show? Where guys get in there and like, there I was and all that stuff. Is that that one?
John
I would love to. Hey, John Forrest. Good to see you.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I'd be more than happy to hook up with any of those guys. That is Sean Ryan.
Okay.
I think they all do great stuff, but I don't live looking backwards. I live looking forwards.
So they just do like
cool
SEAL stories.
They do cool SEAL stories and tactical stuff and whatever. And I'm trying to do something different. But again, different strokes for different folks. Everybody likes to do their own thing. There's about 42,000 SEALs out there doing tactical stuff. Mm-hmm. So I figured I'd do spiritual.
I think you won that game.
So well, no, he's making quite a killing, and we've been sitting at 1,200 people.
With what matters.
Yeah. So, he had some of the biggest names in the business come on the show right away, and people were drawn to that. Yeah, SEAL that is located in Tennessee.
Oh, he's in Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah, I think he does.
Is he in the Nashville area?
I think he's in Nashville, but he might be in the mountains as well. I'm not sure, because I remember seeing that he was here, and I couldn't remember where. I don't know if he's on the border of Kentucky or what, but he seems like a good dude. I never worked with him, don't know him, but seems like a good dude, and
he's close by.
Yeah. So,
cool.
But yeah, man, we crushed our mountain. I'm gonna start doing Instagram, live streaming from the top of that mountain, I think every day, with just my thoughts of the day, if I have any. If not, I'll just be checking in saying hello. But
just an excuse to go ride his
just Ranger.
Yeah. You need something that's Polaris freaking Ranger doesn't have quite the same
but
ring.
The best part is that guy sounds so redneck when he does it. I just picture like Joe Dirt screaming that, all fired up about a Ford Ranger, which is one of like the lamest trucks ever. So it's awesome. But anyways, great week. The Hope Report crushed it. We had Shannon Rush on today, former team guy like myself.
Yeah, he has a heavy story.
Yeah, really, really redemptive story.
And really great. I mean, his experience with the devil,
supernatural,
and God and the devil throughout his testimony, even in times where he said he described himself as pagan. He said, he was okay with Christianity, but wasn't like truly a believer.
He had kind of made his own form of Christianity.
Had these experiences with both God and the devil figures, and it was just fascinating. I mean, it all seems legitimate the way he tells it, and it's just the way that that his story was shaped by those experiences too. It's just pretty interesting.
Again, I found it, really empowering. And again, somebody turning their life around who had been dealt in this, and unlike some of our testimonies, he was someone who was dealt a bad deck. He dealt a really bad hand.
Yes, he truly was. Yeah.
Lost his mom at 18 months. Killed by a drunk driver, and then it was like a country song the rest of the way through. It was terrible. So
I cannot imagine. I mean, he spoke of so he was kind of bounced around family, and he landed with his grandparents for a while, and his grandfather ended up dying of a heart attack, and he found him coming home from school. He was 15, and the first thing that his grandmother said to him was, "You finally killed him. Like, this is your fault."
Yeah, and like it had nothing to do with him.
Imagine putting
that's
that
a broken
on.
soul. Putting, those are some things where you just gotta, like, I've been on crime scenes and I've been in horrible environments where people say horrible things to you, and you just gotta give them grace.
Right, but
grace.
The fact that other family members begin not so it was grace. Sure, in the moment you can understand that, but it was for him, other family members.
For him to process that,
to pick up the same theme and reinforce it for him that he was the problem.
Oh, we got. Did we toast John for us?
Yes, we did. So we have Victor.
Victor.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
To Chris.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And Danae is better half.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So, again, very, very powerful testimony. And then we had on Wednesday, it was
Brett, right?
It was Brett, who was a young guy who was just, who's a My Pillow employee, which just showed the strength of character of Mike Lindell. And he really walks the walk and talks the talk. This guy was a meth head, he'd been given multiple chances, invested in him, helped him out. Constantly went above and beyond, went to his HR, threw himself at their mercy and said, "I need help." And they got him in a, checked, literally Melissa drove him to Teen Challenge, where he turned his life around. So.
Yeah, you get the family vibe for sure from it's good that they walk the walk, as you said.
Yeah. I just, so many, I talked about it, and Shannon was a great example. The SEAL teams are so, terrible in the fact that they eat their young, and it's a one strike place. And we've lost so many guys, good dudes, because of terrible officer policies. So again, for it's just a reoccurring theme over and over and over again, and it's a double standard. It's kind of like what happens in the left and the right now. Conservatives get judged extremely critically for no matter what they do, right or wrong, and Democrats can go out and burn cities down, murder people, rape people, and it's nothing.
Peaceful protest.
Yeah, peaceful protest, and then an unarmed, non-violent protester climbing through a window gets shot and murdered by a black police officer for no reason. Then we still don't know his name. God bless, and may she rest in peace, Ashley Babbitt. So, but that's just the deal. So first story I want to get into today, and before we get into the longer form topics, because the other two topics are pretty long. I don't know if you guys saw Tucker Carlson last night. Go watch at least the segment that's on there on abortion. Lauren, go ahead.
His left the show, so go to like 54 minutes or whatever if you want to find it. But so disturbing. I mean, it started off. You hear other abortion conversations now and then, and so he was interviewing someone who had done this kind of expose about some studies that were being done at University of Pittsburgh. And he had done some undercover work at Planned Parenthood, and just really kind of dove into understanding these grants. And he said that the university is doing, through government-backed grants, money funding this research, they are taking the scalps of, and this is where my stomach turned, 5-month-old fetuses, aborted fetuses. They're taking the scalps off them and grafting them onto the back of rats just to see how long they can keep the hairs growing, little baby hairs. It's like, one, why do you care? Like, what's the point? But and so this the guy who did this piece, he was talking about, there were several things about it that are like, you should be really in an uproar about. One being, he's like, for them to be able to use the scalp of a 5-month-old fetus, you'd have to assume that it would be still intact. And that means that at that size, that would have been a partial birth abortion or a live birth, that they then facilitated the baby dying, and then used it, versus the kind of abortion where they go in and they crush the skull and they pull the baby out in pieces. Secondly, these grants would have been approved by Fauci, because he is the head of the institution that would have approved these grants, and he's like, there's no way that he would have not been aware. And so for him to question the source of this fetal material, and when he was undercover in Planned Parenthood, they were saying, yeah, we provide a lot of the fetuses for these studies. So just makes you absolutely sick.
Just shows you how evil Fauci is. I mean, I have no doubt that he's tied to the coronavirus lab, and the fact that we were, spending money and funding this, in part, this research in Wuhan. I mean, it's just dirty and disgusting, and his hands are all over it, and he needs to be investigated. Not that anything ever happens to Democrats, but the thing that kills me is we know people that we know, love and care, who worship Fauci and think he's like the great Fauci for president, all this. And they're so stupid. They're so easily deceived. You just have to get up there and just be intelligent and just appear intelligent and speak nice. And they just love you. It just shows you they have no discernment at character or how to measure people. They measure people by degrees and not by the content of their character. That is what's wrong with the liberal party. They measure people by freaking the wrong thing, skin color.
Mm-hmm.
They measure people by, they have a bunch of paper and letters after the name, so they must be impressive.
Right.
When, the men who have changed this world, Elon Musk, Bill Gates,
very rarely have,
and Apple guy, help me out. Guy died. Come on, help me out here. Weirdo.
Yeah.
Pacing around the room.
Yep. I'm having the equal brain fart.
The founder of Apple is going to come to us here. Somebody throw it up there so I'm going to feel like a total...
Keep going in order to remember it.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on Bill Gates.
Yeah. So anyways, none of them have degrees.
Steve
Jobs. Thank you.
Jobs.
Yeah,
I got it before I saw it.
Yeah. Steve Jobs. Thank you guys. Now it's going to be on there like 42 times. And we need to see that. Yes. Thank you. Steve Jobs. Thank you. None of them have degrees.
And wait, Mary Jo, you're new.
Mary Jo, welcome.
Mary Jo, thanks for joining us tonight.
None of them have degrees, right? They're all brilliant. They don't need some laundry list of obscure studies to make them feel valid. Come on, man. Our education, our college education, university system is so outdated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Our whole societal education is outdated. We need people that are going to do trades. We need people who have so many other real world skills. And we still have people taking women's studies.
Yeah. No, that's
ancient art, whatever. And they wonder why they're $200,000 in debt.
Right.
From Boston University
let's forget
with no
it
jobs.
Make us pay for it.
Yeah.
That's Mike.
Rex. What's up, Rex?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So anyways, again, so I just, Fauci and, the whole cabal needs to go down. I don't trust any government agency any longer. I don't believe a word the CDC says. I don't believe a word that just about any of them say anymore. So, I trust reporters, the right reporters now. Project Veritas, they are fearless.
Yes,
They are
yeah.
amazing. Tucker Carlson's amazing. There's other ones. Tucker brings on the people who are at the front line. He's just has the platform to bring every one forward,
Yeah.
So, but really good stuff. So this brought me to a point, right? So as you guys know, we're church shopping, right? And all of us should be in church. We should all be in a body of believers, and we should all be going to a pastor, aka mentor in some aspects, who should be helping you deepening your relationship and walk with Christ, right? And understanding the word. That is what their job is, and helping people. And so here we are. We're in Tennessee. We've only been here a little bit, and we're church shopping. And we find a highly recommended Christian school, Brandy Hip.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Christian preschool, and we enroll B, and it's a nice place. And we're watching, the director of the school.
We went on a little tour yesterday.
She's a chatty Kathy, and super nice, super whatever, super great. And so we're like, hey, let's check out. And Lauren starts diving into. Well, I'll let you tell this part.
Oh well, she asked if we were churched yet, if we'd found a place, and we said no. And she says, oh well, you're welcome to check us out. And so she showed us kind of the church aspect of the building and all of that, and looks like a nice place. But so of course we went and found sermons online, and so the first one I pulled up was January 10th, so right after.
Why did you choose January 10th?
Right after Insurrection Day.
Right. So it's really important, guys. So let me explain. It's really important that if you want to get down and dirty with the church quick and figure out what they're made of, go to a day in history that was challenging and see what they preached. Like if it's September 12th or the Sunday after September 11th and it's fresh to September 11th, see what they said. If it's, right when COVID came down, see what they said. See what happened before election day. See what they said to do before election day.
I mean, especially the local churches. What do they say around the event that happened in Charlottesville?
Yeah.
Where we were living when that whole.
Yeah. So, figure out how much disinformation has contaminated your church and where they're from. So go ahead, take it from there.
So we were listening to it, and he seems like a good speaker. He was a good prayer. But he is at a minimum an anti-Trump Republican, but much more likely he's a Democrat. He was very skilled at walking the line. And so he's a people pleaser. He's which is almost worse because he's trying to keep everybody happy and not put his foot down somewhere. But he was dropping enough hints in how he framed things, word choices, that it was pretty clear that he was no Ken Graves, that you'd not be getting kind of the passionate truth that we're looking for, and certainly not on how to apply the Bible in the way that we believe it should be applied to current events.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I get a little bit of confession. I thought you were going to be amenable to his softer style.
No, I mean,
just because of your personality, I thought you were, and I was worried that you were going to be okay with it and find that I wasn't unreasonable. And you came to it on your own, and I'm proud of you for it. And
no, I mean, I don't have an issue with the softer style, but I can certainly now recognize truth and dodging that. And so I don't want to be in an environment, and I certainly know that you don't want to be in an environment where you feel like you're out of place and you feel like your pastor is not going to be on the same page with you. That's not a good starting point.
So here is my problem. If that pastor votes Democrat, he is indirectly, if not directly, responsible for that funding, for those abortions, and for every soul that's on him. And, Melissa today on the Hope Report said that she left her old church because she said her pastor, who was a Democrat, would say, you can't be a one-issue voter. Yes, I can. Thou shalt not kill. There's the first one. If I can't get that right, then what the heck am I doing?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you are killing kids out of convenience, right? Out of convenience.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting. And for them to be able to parse that, right? So Donald Trump's mean.
Yeah.
That's their problem. So he was mean.
Yeah.
Who cares if he's mean? You think John the Baptist was like a good dude?
Yeah.
A fun guy to be around, Mr. Locust Eater? You know, and here's the thing. You know, everyone's like, oh, you got to separate your politics from your religion. Why? Jesus didn't. Jesus called out the Pharisees, who were the politicians of that day. Half his sermons are about the hypocritical Pharisees and taking them on. Same thing with John the Baptist. And Jesus said, if a man born of woman, no one is greater than John the Baptist. And John the Baptist went after corrupt politicians around the clock. That's why he was beheaded.
Well, there's not separation of church and state anymore as far as kind of that. So we are seeing our faith being directly impacted by politics. So of course you have to look at those two through the same lens. And so if you're ignoring that when you go to church on Sunday, and if your pastor refuses to talk about what's going on there, I mean, you're going to be blindsided by a lot, and you're potentially going to be facilitating the downfall of your own faith through politics.
Well, you know, I was confirmed that guy was suspect when I spoke to, you know, a respected pastor in this area, and they said when they hired him, they lost 50% of their congregation.
The church used to be the fire-breathing kind, and that pastor left. And
I agree with you. I agree with you, Troy Wade, 100%. You are in a 100% corrupted faith if you're a Christian and you are voting Democrat. You know, and this brings me to the point that I wanted to talk about, what the left is so effective at doing. Outside of abortion, right, which is why they want to get off that one issue. It's the one issue they're not compassionate about. They're not compassionate
they
for
sugarcoat it.
Yeah, they're not compassionate for the most vulnerable, unprotected, innocent among us, the unborn.
Yeah, I mean, they dance around that and say they're being compassionate for the woman who is the more tangible of the humans.
Yeah, well, so what they do is the left is they weaponize compassion, right? They sit there and say, oh, for example, when conservatives want bad water and bad air and don't want any plants around and want a dirty planet. And that's the most ridiculous thing ever. Most conservatives are the ones that are out in nature because what? They're hunters and fishermen, right? And they like to be left alone, and they have a lot of land, and they live out in the middle of nowhere because they love nature, right? And you know, it's just liberalism, and it's not even liberalism anymore. It's corporatism, which is this whole entity that we have to get around. Old liberals I could work with. They had principles. They wanted good. They just didn't have a realistic view of the world. The new HR corporate globalists, they are a whole new entity that I don't even think people understand how twisted they are. And that's why we're in this up is down, down is up, you know, good is evil, evil is good. Boys are girls, girls are boys, dogs are cats, cats are dogs, you know, whatever, where, you know, literally, you know, we all identify as vaccinated now, right? I mean, that's totally one of those things, right? You know,
a lot of people seem to be here in Tennessee, that's for sure.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's, again, I just want to shout out to my state. I love my state. The fact that I can, you know, you guys have no idea. You know, I'm going to try not to get emotional here. How good it is to feel to be wanted and to be a part of a state that respects you and believes the same way that you do. We moved to Maine and we moved into downtown Bangor, and it was terrible. We were behind enemy lines. Every yard had a BLM sign. Every line had in this house, we believe, like we didn't believe, like
in science.
Yeah, in science. They're no longer the party of science.
Really believe in science.
You know, and, you know, or being in Charlottesville, Virginia, where you're just waiting for people to find out you voted for Trump and your face to show up on the board for Nazis in the area, you know, and it's so so darn good. And I am so thankful and so appreciative to be welcomed by the people of Tennessee. You know, everyone who's found out why we're coming here embraces us 1000%. And I am so thankful for it. And I will fight for Tennessee till the day I die, because this place is something special. And it really is. And we just got here, but it is something special. And it's got its warts.
Mhm.
I mean, we got our neighbors with muffler-less ATVs that sound like they're a
It's
tank
the
running through your
worst.
living room.
John can testify to that.
John, but he's only done that like once after that, and they must have run out of money for gas.
shortage.
We haven't heard his thing in over a week now.
That was like the best thing ever. Gas shortage.
Yeah.
For our annoying neighbor.
So, but for real, for every one of those, there's moments of freedom that are just taken for granted. When I call to my friends who are out there and like, you're putting a cross on your property, aren't you worried? I'm like, no. Thank you, Troy. You have no idea how thankful we are. Like, we count our lucky stars every day when I go out and I breathe that Tennessee air, and I know that I'm free again.
So you've had people question the cross from their perspective in other states?
Yeah, they're like, like, oh my God, aren't you worried what people are going to do? And I'm like, no, I'm in Tennessee. I'm building a 16-foot tall cross in my backyard with freaking lights and lasers on it and everything else. Sharks with freaking lasers lighting up on it, But no, we're going to do that. And I think it's going to be a symbol of hope for this neighborhood, because, we don't live in the richest neighborhood. There are trailer parks all around us.
Yep.
There's some nice houses down the road. Our house is very middle America. It's way smaller than what we had. And I just wanted to lift something up to make people, because we have broken people around us everywhere. We all do. I wanted to provide, a beacon of light for someone up there. And the main thing that I'm so excited about, if you have a chance to come here and be a part of this, Troy, invite everyone. I don't care how many people show up.
Just let me know. So I can
we just need to know on the board. And if you're not on the board, in the event saying you're coming to the event,
we want to be able to feed you
need
guys.
to know. We want to be able to feed you guys. So we are building a 600 to 700 pound cross, and we are carrying it up a mountain like Jesus carried his. And I believe every man that is going to be a part of that is going to be forever changed, and is going to remember that the rest of their days. The day they carried a cross up the side of a mountain to dedicate this land to Jesus. And how often? Who's ever done that before? I haven't.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of anyone else doing that. So we're doing that for the Lord here. We are thankful for all the blessings He's given us. This land, if you guys didn't know, was owned by Billy Graham at one point, and we want to carry on the proud tradition and reconsecrate this ground for the Lord and give Him a sunrise every morning from the top of that hill facing east.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
So if you want to be a part of that, there's a few ways you can be a part of that. It's on the 29th. We're doing it at 4 p.m. Next Saturday, the 29th. All right. We're doing it at 4 p.m. We're going to have the hole dug already. We're going to have the quickcrete, 400 pounds of concrete up there waiting for it.
That's what the Ranger's for.
That's what the Ranger's for. So we're going to get all that done. We're going to get the cross built beforehand. So we're going to build the cross next week, and then it'll be sitting there. And then once we get enough people here, we're going to make a go at it.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be, it's going to be a gut check, but I think it's going to be, the more guys we get, the better it's going to be.
Starting from the house, or are you going to bring it to the base of the mountain?
We're going to bring it to the base of the mountain and go up the mountain. I think, that's a really long walk.
Yeah. That's fair.
And then we're going to go up the base of the mountain. We're going to go up the path, and we're going to make it right. And we're going to, the same path we went up today.
Yep.
And we're going to go up there, and we're going to clear a little place, and that's where we're going to plant it. And for real, guys, it's kind of like St. Crispin's Day, was it Henry V's speech, or was it Henry V that said the speech where, all men will hold their manhoods, cheap while they speak of this day. basically where they won this insurmountable odds where the French came for them and they beat them they're outnumbered like 3-1 and they won.
Okay.
And it's going to be like that. If you were here and you weren't here, you couldn't be here, or you were here and you didn't come, you're going to regret it because we're going to film it. It's going to be a part of our legacy for the rest of our life.
You mentioned a professional. Were you trying to get Kevin here?
I want to get Kevin
Have
here.
you talked to him about it?
I have not, and I need to.
Kevin is our awesome videographer that we've done all of our work stuff with. He's in Virginia, so we'll see if he's free on Memorial Day weekend.
Love to have him down, but I just think it's going to be great, and it doesn't have to be guys, gals, whatever. I don't care, and people can be rotated out who are going up there if we get enough people. But I'm going the whole way, and we're going to get it up there. We're going to plan it. We're going to, put it in the ground. You're just going to dig the hole, leave it there. We're not going to go through setting it and slow everyone's day down. Then we're going to come down and we're going to toast to all the fallen military members, because that's what Veterans Day, Memorial Day is about. People get Memorial Day and Veterans Day crossed. Veterans Day is when you thank somebody for their service. Memorial Day is when we reflect and celebrate the lives of those who were lost. And a lot of people miss to celebrate the lives that were lost. I choose to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to live to the fullest to honor their memory because they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
And, and one of the things that I typically watch when I go to a church, and I've seen two churches suck at this, and one is what church that I greatly respect and love. And they overcame that, but I still, think less of them because of it, is they totally screw up and they miss that it's even Memorial Day.
Yeah. Yep.
How the hell do you do that?
Yeah.
It shows a total lack of situational awareness, and it shows that you never served a second in your life in the military, because anybody who knows guys who went off and died in the military would never forget that.
Well, and certainly a lack of awareness of who's in their congregation, because there are absolutely people connected to someone who's been lost.
22 veterans a day kill themselves, guys.
Yeah.
That multiplies exponentially across, the population that where everyone's touched or knows somebody who's done it. And that day is a very hard day for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And to not acknowledge that as a congregation, to not acknowledge that as a spiritual leader, you're either obtuse or, that's the only thing I can think of, is that.
As you said, there's so many sermons you can do on. There's the laying your life down for another. It's a
layup sermon.
Yeah.
It's a layup sermon. The only time I can think of is if you have like some timely thing, like let's say some breaking news happened the day before.
At a minimum,
you better pray.
You acknowledge it in the beginning. You pray for it in the beginning, and then you can move on. But even better if you can do the whole thing about it.
Yeah, and it's
so that'll be our next test for when we are. Should come to the lighthouse.
Troy, I'm going to take a hard look at you guys. I really am. I'm going to take a hard look at you guys. I am by default, because of my loyalty to Ken Graves and because Calvary Chapel is basically fighting on the front of every war in this country right now for the church. I'm pretty loyal to Calvary Chapel right now, but I am willing to explore that. Now, Calvary Chapel is not Calvary Church. Calvary Church here is not affiliated with Calvary Chapel. Mm-hmm. That is a total Rainbow Coalition school place, and I want no part of them. But there is Calvary Chapel Tri-States, which I think is a very Tri-Cities, which is kind of a small church. It's not very polished from what I've seen from the pastor, but I don't care about polish. I care about character, and I care about is he alive? Is he willing to speak truth from the pulpit? Yeah. And your intro that you talked about when you're church shopping, this guy was very polished speaking, a great presenter, was probably really good in seminary, can debate really well, but he was so vanilla.
Yeah.
So vanilla that he was avoiding truth, and I think he took things out of context. Like, whoa. So, but anyways.
DM Brown.
DM Brown. Welcome, DM Brown.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I agree
Scott,
with you, DM.
We will film and live stream as much as possible. Certainly any moments like that when there's a prayer, we will do our best to hop on. If a live doesn't work, we will at least film it, but we will certainly try to do live.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, is Ken going to be here this Sunday or next Sunday?
This Sunday. Yeah, he's not going to be here.
Yeah, I'm like, man. So he's going to be here in 2 days.
Yeah, that's what you told me anyway.
Yeah.
So Ken, he found out, he called me and like all in a rush. Guess who's going to be here on Sunday? Ken. So Ken is traveling to Asheville, which is less than an hour from us, this Sunday through Tuesday. So he's driving over just for the evening.
Yeah, I think he's spending the night after I talked to him. So you got to get there. Yeah.
Okay, bye guys. I got to go. You what?
Yeah, he's like, I'll get in at 5. And he's like, and I got lunch at noon. So I can come spend the night there.
This room is not ready. I need to go shopping. Oh my goodness. I know what tomorrow's going to be now.
Lauren improvising is a scary thing.
Not good, guys.
So yes, Chris Scott, there is some great news. The Supreme Court decision out of California where Gavin Newsom went from the #1 opponent of the church to the #1 donor of the church with a $1.2 million.
Was that on last Friday that I read that?
Yeah.
Was that a week ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really good stuff.
And so I think all the other states are holding their breath for it to trickle over and impact their governors' mandates as well. I know that Ken is anxious for Janet Mills too.
Yeah, that's the big domino. I mean, there was 3 things. There was also the unanimous decision. For everybody who missed our show on Wednesday, I'll recap.
Okay, Danae's calling for strength and honor. We're not.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I am. I already killed my wine, and now I'm on to mixed drink.
I'm having water tonight, guys.
So Lauren,
The worst.
hold on. I don't want to shift topics, but Lauren, when do we find out Magnus is on the way?
So he is so committed to this being a boy.
It's a boy. Everyone out there, if you love me, pray it's a boy.
It's already decided, which was
Pray
up to you,
it's a boy.
actually. But you can pray whatever you want to, but you're not going to really change anything.
You never know. God can do anything. God can do anything.
Okay, then our child's going to come out all confused.
No,
If,
God can do anything.
Midstream prayers come in and okay.
God.
But it'll be a couple weeks. I have to get my insurance switched over still before I can have an appointment. So kind of early June is when we'll be able to find out.
And you guys will know the moment we do what it is.
Of course.
And then we will all toast to Magnus.
Strength and honor.
I didn't mean to clink glasses on that.
Yep.
That's not an agreement.
That is an agreement.
No.
Totally.
I don't think it counts if I just drank with water.
No, it's Magnus if it's a dude.
Magnus if it's a dude.
Magnus if it's a dude. So hold on, what we got here? I took a quick road trip. So this is Mary Jo Coho. To Tennessee last week, and it was great to feel normal and free. We saw crosses along the way in Virginia and Tennessee. Yes. It was inspiring to see. Absolutely. We've seen them along the highway as well. This is back in, I haven't seen one back in a neighborhood, which is kind of why we like this. And that cross is going to have 360 views in the mountains. And that is also a prelude to the lodge and the ministry I want to build here. So to all you strong Christian warriors out there and the ones that are in this area and want to be a part of this ministry, my vision for Patriot Crusader mission is we want to build a destination place where we have a lodge, a gym, a jiu-jitsu, and a boxing studio, and a shooting range, and a mechanic shop, a carpentry shop, all these things. And what we want to do is we want to teach men how to be men again, how to be strong Christian men, and then have those men go and mentor children. Mm-hmm. Right? We got to teach people how to be fathers. We have so many broken families out there, so many fatherless children out there. And I want to do that with I'm not a big fan of Krav Maga, Scott. I mean, I think it's good for some people, but I'm not a big fan of it. Um, you know, we're going to teach people what we believe they need to survive, which is you need to be able to defend yourself,
Mm.
right? You need to be able to feed yourself, so they better be able to hunt, fish, all that. They better be able to change a tire, oil,
Mhm.
be a normal dude, have some basic carpentry skills, basic electricity skills, basic plumbing skills, all the things that I didn't have that I wish I had
Yeah.
growing up.
They'll be learning right alongside them in the beginning.
And as well as, you know, diving into the Bible and leading their families from the front as a Christian leader. And that is
Yeah.
the most important part. Everything will be Jesus focused.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, I don't think there's very few people out there who can't get behind a ministry to make strong Christian men again. And so I'm just so excited to be a part of this. You know, we're looking at log cabins, we're looking at making, sleeping arrangements and all those other things here. And I'm just so excited for this. Building an obstacle course out in the field, just doing some really cool stuff where, people are going to want to come spend a week or 2 weeks or maybe a month. I don't know what it's going to do. I'm really trying to do this the way that I say and the way I preach is I'm going to do the next right thing and I'm going to let God take care of the rest. So whatever it turns out to be, but it's my job to convey what's on my heart. What's on my heart and what I want to do is that. And I would be honored to have Chris Scott a part of this. I'd be honored to have anybody, one of these guys who want to come be a part of this. And again, I want everyone's fingerprints over this. It's not just me. Yeah. I don't have the carpentry skills. I don't have the electrician skills. I don't have the plumber skills. I don't have the automotive skills. I have the shooting skills, the fighting skills, the first aid skills, this, that, and then,
fitness,
the fitness and all that other part. So, again, I can't do it all. So I need a strong stable of Christian warriors to lock shields with to make this happen. And I'm just so happy and honored to be doing this in Tennessee and in Johnson City, Tennessee, where I think it's needed just as much as anywhere.
Yeah. It'll be very cool. So that one of the next steps for us is turning PCM into a nonprofit entity so that we can do grants and fundraising and things like that for this effort, for the building, for working on the land and all that stuff to get it started.
Yeah. And I mean, having a garden and, growing stuff, I just see it real, it's, and yes, I'm doing some unique things here, but a lot of it is just a different spin or take on what Ken has been doing in Bangor, right?
Yeah.
Ken's been doing something very similar in Bangor, and we want to do the same thing here. Just different.
Shorter term visits or
Yep.
kind of time.
Yeah, we're not
people. They do a year at CRD and, kind of hyper focus into the addiction stuff. But yeah, I mean, so some similarities and certainly inspiration from, but it's going to be your vision through God.
Yeah. I want to get to people before they're the drug addict.
Yeah.
Before their life goes down the toilet.
Yeah.
Every testimony I hear, if they had been discipled earlier, it would have been ended or it would have been avoided.
Yes.
And that's what I want to do. So, so again, Chris, I hope you're not mad at me because I'm not a fan of Krav Maga. I mean, I'm a believer taking something great from everything. I just don't believe in choreographed fights. So
that's not how it happens on the street, huh?
Yeah, it breaks down on the flinch response and it breaks down on the break. And when people grab you, 99% of martial arts go out the window because the second you grab my hand, I'm not going to go off on some elaborate ballet with you. Right. I'm going to pull back and I'm going to break the hold.
Yeah.
And most of them just play along with some slap fighting stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have some great disarms. They have some great knife techniques that they borrowed from everywhere else or invented themselves. I mean, no martial art is all bad and no martial art is all good.
Blend of it.
Like my biggest beef with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is I think it's one of the most amazing tools on the planet, but it's a pair of pliers. And when you need a hammer, you need a hammer.
Mm.
You don't need a pair of pliers. So somebody with a knife going up against somebody who's going to try to use Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they're dead.
Mm.
And grab a red marker and start grappling them and just start cutting things.
Yeah.
They're going to come out
Yeah. It's good exercise.
totally done. And that just, you can't be one thing. You have to be all things.
Mhm.
And you have to know the limitations of your art. And a lot of times Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys drink the Kool-Aid like freaking whoa. Like
I would say that seems like that way for a lot of these disciplines.
BJJ is the
BJJ is
worst
most.
because they crush in the octagon where they have rules.
Okay.
Right. BJJ also breaks down where you can't bite someone's nose off.
Right.
Or crush their throat or
any
take
street
their
fight that
eyes.
doesn't-
Right. But
Yeah.
all those things are what happen in proximity and grappling. Right. And yes, you can control some parts to it, but again, those are things that are going to happen in a real street fight. So, or not a street fight. Most street fights don't reach that level of brutality, but a life or death, you're fighting for your life situation. So I don't know how we get off on this tangent. Chris is Krav Maga. But so that's, and again, I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the best darn pair of pliers in the world. And I think you better know how to use pliers. But sometimes you need a screwdriver, sometimes you need a hammer, and sometimes you need a box cutter.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make sense, everyone? Or did I lose you, Chris?
Oh, still there.
Going once. Going twice.
I think you're good.
Okay. So I'm with you on that one, man. I've been emasculated through and through. Yeah, I mean, toxic masculinity shouldn't even be a term.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's mansplaining and all these other, like, there's only one person in the world you can make fun of today. That's straight white men.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want to straight white men. Oh, he missed my rant today. Oh man. I did that. I was speaking directly to him.
You'll have to watch it back. Tell him he missed it.
Speaking directly to him, man, so he would understand. I was downloading knowledge. I was uploading knowledge. Sorry, I was uploading knowledge.
He'll download it later.
Go ahead, Lauren. I need a drink.
What were we talking about? We were talking about
whatever you want. Go. Ken Graves is sleeping in your house in 2 days. Go.
I know. I need a bed. I need curtains. I need to clean. You screwed me over. We're gonna have to talk about this. Especially, when did you find this out?
A couple hours ago. Was it going to do any good while you were scrambling, making amazing?
Why are you laughing? That's not ever a good way to introduce something like that.
What was it again?
I don't know. How do you pronounce Yonki? Yonki?
The Yonki was good.
I make no claim to that pesto. It was a jarred pesto. You're acting
this
like I screwed something up.
Tasted like it was made of a million lemons. It was terrible. It was the worst pesto I've ever had in my life.
Pretty
bad. I mean,
Lauren, Food City around here, not the best selection.
Yeah, food. I mean, that's one thing. All right, we've already said how great Tennessee is, but your grocery stores suck.
Yes, I am silently panicking, Mary Jo. I'm glad that you can read me. Yes. Because the plan to order things online that would be here for the next weekend's guest is out the window. Going to Target tomorrow.
No, Target here is terrible too. So anyways, let's get into that. So when you
have many options, thank you.
When you go to Tennessee, you're going to find out a few things. At least Johnson, Tennessee. The grocery stores are terrible. Yeah. We
haven't been to all of them. We haven't been to Publix yet. So if anyone here can testify that Publix is a better option, we've been to one of the Krogers and 2 of the Food Cities.
Yeah, terrible. And we haven't been to an Ingles yet, which if Jen's watching, she's going to lose her mind.
I know you haven't been yet.
But the ones that we've seen have been awful. And then their Target here is the most ghetto Target I've ever seen.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, it's bad. So maybe we need to go to Wally World, even though I hate buying Chinese junk.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm not sure.
What is it you need from there?
I need rug. I need curtains. Maybe a bed frame.
Lowe's. Bed frame. Bed Bath and Beyond. Done.
We can possibly
Done.
Okay.
Done. See, I'm good. Just let me handle this stuff. What do I do? What do I do?
You pick.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the Lauren.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
But I have to clean the like I was like, I have a week to clean this stuff that I haven't gotten to yet. Like all of the random moving in that I mean, this house was not clean when we got here. And now it's dirtier. Just
hey, it's not like Ken Grace is gonna be sleeping here in 2 days.
You're on baby B duty all weekend.
Oh man. Baby B is going to be on the 4-wheeler. We are going. I'm gonna have her 4-point harnessed in, strapped in, tied, and we're just gonna be bouncing through the backyard.
Oh my god, she's gonna be. She loves tractors in theory, and she calls everything with a motor as a tractor. So she calls this a tractor, and she loves it in theory. And then she's like, "No thanks, all done, no tractor." But I think the second ride, she
loved it. I mean, she loved it.
She wanted to help Dada clean it off after.
Yeah, we had to take the hose and get all the mud off because we put that sucker in the only water we had on the property. But we did find
a little puddle.
Yeah, the pond that became a puddle. So the next thing I want to talk about here is a challenging discussion. And I want to call it a discussion because I don't have all the answers. And I don't have all the answers on anything, as a matter of fact. But I do have some answers, and I do have some opinions on this. But what do you do when a friend keeps sinning, right? You're around them. They are just either blind. Like I have one friend who thinks he's Captain Empathy and super intelligent and, whatever. And he has the biggest blind spot is him.
Mm-hmm.
He has no idea how douchey he looks when he posts the things that he does and how stupid he looks when he posts some of the things that he posts.
Hi, Corey. Strength and honor.
Corey, good to see you.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Running out of water.
Honor.
Corey, we will always stay strong in the faith and appreciate that. And I don't know, Corey, where you're at, but if you heard, we are building a 600 to 700 pound cross, and we need manpower on the 29th at 4 p.m.
Yeah, I can't
to
remember.
bring it
Are
up
you
the mountain.
local or no? I'm not sure he is.
There are some things in Fresh Market, DM Brown, that we like. We like in Fresh Market. We had one in Charlottesville. The pre-made food like chicken salad,
yeah,
all that stuff is
your
going to go.
Only place to shop
and your gourmet selections like your maple syrup there.
Yeah.
You can get cinnamon infused maple syrup
crackers.
Yeah, and you've got gluten-free stuff in there for days, but the rest of us, not so much.
So DM, you're local, it sounds like. Did we know that?
Yes.
Okay.
She came from Freedom of Johnson City.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Awesome.
DM, are you coming to our party on Saturday? You're more than welcome to. We're gonna have beer and wine. We're gonna have, we're gonna provide hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza. We ask that other people provide other stuff. Don't stress yourself out. If you can't or you don't want
desserts.
Dessert, anything. Show up with anything, and you'll be cool.
You can just show up with a
smile,
a hug, and a welcome. That works too.
Yeah,
okay, what were we talking about? We were talking about friends and not being aware.
I've got multiple friends. One has, who, I'm trying to be vague enough because I don't want to drop a bomb on them.
The 2-month-old would be welcome.
What's that?
He said he's thinking about it. I have to ask the wife. We have a 2-month-old. I understand.
2-month-olds welcome totally.
I understand that.
We have a 2-year-old. So we have a 2-year-old. So bring them on down. You'll be 100% comfortable here. Kids are welcome.
Welcome
We're
to
part of
nap
that.
in the kiddos' room
Yep.
if necessary.
So, simple honesty, you're being a douche. So stop. Our friendship is on the edge. Yeah, my friendship isn't on the edge with him, John, right? I mean, I love him. And, he's a young Christian, meaning he's a new Christian. He's just, he's a good looking, fit guy who a lot of people blow smoke up his ass and how awesome he is all the time.
Mhm.
And I just feel like he's out of touch with reality sometimes. When you're showing a 4-pack, right? When you pull up your shirt and you're saying, "Wow, I'm going to start the hardest challenge in my, whatever. I'm going for 6-pack," and the dude's got like 5 pounds to lose.
Mhm.
The rest of the world is looking at that like, "Are you kidding me, dude?" Like, that's the equivalent of the supermodel saying, "I'm so fat."
Yeah, I mean, so as far as I think it's in kind of thinking about, sin, and I think there is some sin that is more important as a friend to address. And then there's others that you shouldn't turn yourself inside out over. I think, as a friend, you could certainly, on the side say, this is how it's coming across to me.
I just want to do it for him because I know I'm not the only one reading that and being like, dude, how unaware are you?
Mhm.
And I love the guy. The guy's a great supporter. He's a good friend.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a lot of great things.
Yeah.
And I respect the heck out of him. I just don't know how to deal with this blind spot on him.
Well, I think,
And I
so
don't want to
if
put
you-
our friendship at risk, but I feel like I need to speak truth to him.
Do you think it would?
I don't know.
Well,
I have never had that type of confrontation with him as a friend yet.
Okay.
Like, he's not a lifelong friend. We developed a mutual respect for each other. We worked around each other. We've done all that stuff, but I have never, ever had to call him on something.
Could you approach it? I mean, so as a new Christian, and he's probably not explored wounds and kind of gone through his story and things like that. As far as I can look at that, and I'd say you can look at that and say that's stemming from something. I mean, it's people who front like that about physical appearance, and they often have insecurities, and that stems from something else. And can you approach it from a Christian angle, a faith angle, versus just like you're coming across like a douche?
Right. Well, the things are this, right? If he was just doing this and it was his personality, I wouldn't care.
Mhm.
But it's incompatible with the image that he's projecting and the career he's trying to do.
Mhm.
Right. He's trying to do a coaching career. He's trying to do something very different. And it's incompatible with that. And it destroys his credibility in other things, of which I think he is great at.
Mhm.
Right. So, or good or strong at, whatever you want to call. So again, I'm trying to figure out, do I want to put the relationship at risk, or do I want to start working towards that?
I think you are exceptionally good at giving hard truths to friends, and I think that they respect you for it, because a lot of people don't. And I know you have a lot of friends who don't get that from other people, this person being one of them. And I know that sometimes you get pushback in the moment from people who you go to and say, this is what I'm perceiving on my end. And but in the end, they always come around grateful.
Yep.
And if they don't, that's really on them. And in time, I think that they would still realize that you were right in coming to them. And so I think it's all about how in framing. I know, we were talking kind of whether do you blast them publicly on Facebook when they say a post?
Private. It's
And
got to
you
be
say,
private.
no, it has to be a private.
Corrective
respectful-
action should always be private, unless you're trying to make a point, right? And at which point you have to have a super strong relationship with that person.
Mhm.
But it had, like you said, it should be done private.
Yeah.
And not on Facebook. It should be like, and again, I'm going to do it. I'm trying to, figure out the best way to do it. And he may just laugh at me and say whatever, but it's my attempt to be a good friend.
Mhm.
And I owe myself to that. That's the best part, John, right? Like, especially the fact that he's a new Christian.
Mhm.
There are some that are being humble and not, and again, power constrained instead of braggadocio and the rest.
There's a line, I mean, you've struggled with this some, I would say, and you're a public figure now, as this person is as well, and so you always, there's been stress about kind of putting your best foot forward and kind of wanting to look your best and all this stuff, and seeming like you have everything together. And so there's certainly kind of this presentation that you want to do when you are trying to impress people who you want to either work with, or you're trying to create this following. But there's a line on just presenting that authentically and then doing it in a way that's really, I mean, it's tooting your own horn excessively, or I mean, the way that things are framed often from him just come off completely shallow and like he has no self-awareness, as you said.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to do my best to help him in this. And I hope it doesn't blow up the relationship, because that's what I had to weigh. Like, what he's doing isn't detrimental to me in any way. It isn't, costing me anything. I just see him hurting himself doing it, but it's not like he's doing drugs.
Yeah.
He's not doing everything. And I'm like, do I just keep my mouth shut and let him learn this lesson on his own? Or do I come to him with it, put their reputation, put their friendship at risk, and go from there?
I think you explore it, you see how receptive he is, and if not, then drop it, move on, and you tried, and he moves on and learns his own lesson, or it goes well and he is receptive. And I mean, I think you are very good at feeling out how to explore a conversation like that.
Yeah. All right. So I got to catch up on a lot of comments here. So one, I want to answer Brandy's question. Brandy said, I don't mean to change the subject. Interrupt. What is the best PT exercise to do with a sprain, bruised ribs, push-ups, weightlifting, running, walking, stomach crunches, hurt? Should I just suck it up? So you need to do whatever you can to be active at this point. When you're injured, you need to be the most active you can without continuing to make the injury worse. So you need to figure out what makes it worse. And then there's the factor of, is it making the injury worse, or is it just uncomfortable? Right. And you just have to, work with your doctor and figure that out. But the main thing is to stay moving. So walking is typically what I tell people to do who are severely obese, who have challenges. Just get walking, and walking the right way. Are you duck-toed? Are you just throwing? Are you waddling? Are you doing a walk with a deliberate purpose? Walk tall.
Set your core.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Set your core. Walk tall. Get as tall as you can and walk, and start there. Mm-hmm. And then everything you can do off of that is a bonus. All right. So Chris said, agree with you on BJJ. I rolled just enough to get up into a ground situation. Yep. Agree with you. And yes, I rewound on my phone. Thank you, Chris. Corey said, I'm in Colorado. I'll be visiting my folks in Southern Missouri next weekend. Otherwise, I would love to be there. And then John said, have a good conversation about being humble. Yep. And then Troy said, if you go with love and humility, you should understand. I'm hoping so. I've never had to give him corrective action. He may be the best in the world at taking corrective action. I've never been in that situation with him. Brandy, working out in a pool when injured is great. Mm-hmm. So here is some more stuff about be honest with your friend, and no matter what his response is, love him anyways. I agree. Corrective should be done private. Praising someone should be done in public. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Mary Jo said, tell him that you respect him, what he's trying to do, but he's coming off a bit arrogant. If he isn't arrogant and has self-respect, he will take the advice. If not, he might just be a jerk. And some people have an aspect of that of their personality. It may not define them.
Good night, Troy. He's signing off here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Troy, great to see you. I'm going to help my wife with the kids. Love you guys. We'll finish the rest of the show later. God bless you. Big and all, the PCM family. Awesome. Thanks. And then Captain Caveman's here. It's late, man.
And also John Fetzer is on too.
And John Fetzer, what's up?
So we need a second.
Oh, all right. So hold on.
John.
Yeah, so hold on.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
John.
Strength and honor.
Did you miss one? You didn't do that for?
Yep.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I'm out.
You're out. You better go get some. Come back because we ain't done. Still got a lot to go over here.
Okay. You guys want to see some Santa PJs?
Santa PJs in 90-degree heat in Tennessee. This is my wife. Ready?
Heck
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Do the dance. Those are little Santa Clauses on pajamas in May. My wife, fashion assassin, let me tell you. Fashion assassin. So as far as what you missed, John, we got into a lot of stuff. Right now we're talking about how to correct a friend who keeps on sinning. I have another friend who claims to speak to God a lot, who claims to be in tune with God a lot, claims to be, Holy Spirit filled and or filled, not filmed, Holy Spirit filled, and continues to battle with porn. Over and over again, he's always going back to porn. And this guy I have a great relationship with. I mean, he's one of my best friends in the whole world. And I try to give it to him. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? If you're in like talking to God, like he claims he gets God in his ear, like James Earl Jones, and direct speaking to whatever. And I'm just, if that's the case, what is he saying to you when you're watching porn and you're watching, sex slaves from, you name the Eastern Bloc country that are being forced to do this stuff, and that, I mean, what do you do with that?
I mean, it's not your sin. You have talked to him about it, but you cannot change a person. So you've given him as wise counsel as you can.
Danae loves the Santa PJs.
Thank you very much. You have relieved the burden from your heart of an obligation to help a friend with the sin that you're observing. And that's as much as you can do. I mean, I think you can continue to counsel, but you certainly can't go into the bedroom and turn off the computer.
So I always try to look at myself and what I'm doing because I don't want to be hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of the sins that I do over and over again are there voluntary sins that I do over and over again. And I'm trying to find those not reflexive sins. Reflexive sins are you stub your toe, you curse,
right?
Or something happens. But when you know it's wrong, when you know the hammer was put to the nails on Jesus for that reason, what do you do? Like I'm trying to find that. I'm not finding that like that. And maybe I have a blind spot. Maybe I'm not, today was the closest I came to that, where I was frustrated and angry and I started listening to angry music.
I was going to say that. And I was outside the garage today hearing you play that. And I was sad for you.
Yeah. Well, I was in here and I wanted to rage, and I didn't put on any anti-God music. No, I didn't go to Slayer, but I went to some hardcore stuff that I listen to that gets me jacked. And I put it on, and then I immediately felt guilt for it. And after I thought about it, I'm like, what am I doing? And then I walked out and had a great evening with you and B.
Mm-hmm.
So, so again, am I a hypocrite because I did that? I mean, I haven't done that in forever.
No, I'm not apples to apples with this in any kind of way. I mean, I can't think on your behalf of anything that I know of that would be kind of in the same category. Of intentional or repetitive sin. So
it's hard for me to relate because I don't hear God in stereo like they claim to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I don't hear God in stereo like they do, or all that stuff, I just wonder, I mean, do you only hear God in stereo sometimes when you're messing up Is he not there telling you not to?
I think probably in moments like that, you intentionally or otherwise, your mind is not, your soul is not as receptive to hearing the voice. But I think other than continuing to counsel, especially when he shares with you that he's done this again and kind of that it's an ongoing thing, he knows your position, yet and so I think he probably seeks out and respects what you say, although he's not applying it yet or fully. But I think now what you can do is pray for him.
Well, you know what? That's a great point. But the thing is his advice is bunk because he's not walking it out himself.
So
right? It destroys his credibility. Yeah, it destroys his credibility. So anyway, so this is a great point, Brandy, and this is something that I struggled with for a bit until I didn't. And it comes in waves. Some people say I cuss like a sailor. My response is I am a sailor. Can cussing be a sinful addiction? Absolutely, and you need to get rid of it. The Bible tells you that cussing is a sin. It shows a lack of intellect. I'm not saying you don't have intellect. It just shows you need to broaden your vocabulary a little bit, and you need to articulate things in a clearer way where you don't feel like you need to go to the most stupid, low life form of communication, which is dropping the F-bomb or whatever.
And it's certainly once you stop swearing as much, and you hear people who still do, and I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
people on Instagram
God.
that you watch, that it's like they make a video and every other word is the F word or whatever, and it's impossible to listen to. I mean, it completely takes away from whatever point they might have, the best point in the world.
Yeah,
and it just absolutely fails.
I mean, 99% of all SEAL podcasts out there have an F-bomb every 3 seconds. And all I hear is a broken person, somebody who needs Jesus.
Yeah.
I can't even get to the substance of their conversation because all I'm seeing is their wound front and center, splitting their face. And so Captain Caveman, I need some clarification. You always ask these abstract, minimalist questions. Do you hear the old with new ears? I don't know what you mean with that. I want to engage with you. I want to understand what you're saying. Can you elaborate? Having a good time.
Stone or heart of flesh?
I understand those two phrases, but what I'm saying, I don't understand what your question is.
You become a Christian, so you have new ears.
I mean, without a doubt, you start looking at things different. Once you're a new creature, you're a completely new construction. Once you're born again and you're of Christ and you're spirit filled, right? It changes everything you do. It should be the focus of action that everything you do should be the glorification of God and not yourself, right? That's where our friend is really struggling with. He's not to that point of Christianity yet.
Well, and I think, the thing about porn is it's such a private sin. There's some sins like swearing and things that are kind of more front and center for public viewing, and other people can say you are being a hypocrite, you're calling yourself a Christian, and I'm seeing you do this stuff. The only reason anyone would know about the sin of porn is if it's confided, and so most people don't view him as a hypocrite. You just know kind of what's going on behind the doors.
Yeah, but it's I mean, that's a big deal.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking to somebody who used porn multiple times a day for most of their military career, never considered it a sin, didn't understand what was anything, and then went cold turkey on it, right? It's because it became something different. And again, biblically, it's all bad. But I'm just saying what the porn industry is now. It's not movie stars. It's not,
most people didn't choose to be there.
Right. It's sex trafficking. Like, how the heck can you watch sex trafficked people being forced to do stuff? Like, that is evil incarnate.
It's the sin part, but then it's plus the the world
Exactly.
part. Kind
The
of,
sin
yeah.
part is bad enough in itself, but when you look at the irredeemable part of this, is the part that you are taking pleasure in someone being tortured.
Mhm.
And that's the part I think that a lot of people have to, and who knows, maybe he only watches certain porn that's between loving couples. I have no idea. I'm just saying that if you need to go to porn to get your sex life off, you're in a dark place and you need to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, because certainly it speaks to some other things that are potentially going on in the marriage. And does the partner know? Does she not know? And so, I mean, there's a lot of layers there that are
When they do it
impacted. It's not
together,
just
they
watching
do it
porn.
together. And that is, I mean, at least you're not having an emotional affair or whatever you want to call that behind closed doors. It's
Yeah.
whatever, and they're using it as stimulation, I guess. I'm just saying, from Bible believing Christians, how does this even enter the conversation? Like, when you know it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a difference when you're screwing up and you don't know it's
Our
wrong.
video is a little jacked up.
Is
Anyone
everyone else having issues, or is it just John? So can we get someone else saying besides John Ferris that our video is a little jacked up? I see our signal is yellow right now for the first time in the broadcast. It might be a little inconsistency in the Wi-Fi here for a minute, so we can wait for that to correct. No one, either everyone stepped away or no one else is having. All right, John says it's fine. So again, it's just something that's so, for somebody who is so biblically involved every day, Bible reading, this, that, and the other thing. All right, thank you, Misty. Bible reading in the morning, getting up early to do it, praying with their coworkers, doing all these things. Still, when it comes to sex, they have this giant wound and insecurity, and they do this.
Mm.
Is there really healing there? This is a legitimate conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I love this guy, and I am 100% confident to speak truthfully to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pull any punches with him. That's not the type of relationship when I think I messed up at him, and I'm just trying, but I want to have an answer.
I from what I've gathered of what you've counseled him already, I mean, I think that you have said,
I'm down to 2 bar now. What the heck is going on with the network? 3 out of 10. This fixes, guys. I apologize that I'm going to stop moving and I'll be less dynamic in my speaking.
Sensible.
It is. It's good. Okay. All right. So again, I mean, I'm sure you guys have issues. Oh, and the other thing, if you guys want to call in, I mean, I know we've been going on a little bit here, but if you guys want to call in, you have something to say, let us know. If you want to be on screen, you get a camera on a solid internet connection. We ask that if you're going to use video, have a good internet connection, not like, I guess, what's going on with us for the first time since we've been here. Let us know and we'll pull you in. I do have a 1-800 number line that is going to be the number to call in. I'm still trying to figure out, for the Hope Report and PCM, who's going to be screening those calls, because it's most likely going to be yours truly being like, hold on a second. Hello. And I don't want to be doing that. Yep. So right now, scheduling people has been the best way to do it.
It's going up and down.
Is it? Yeah. All right. If it's going up and down, I'm not going to worry about it until it's too late. I'm going to kill some signals in here or whatever. But let me make sure that I'm on the right one, that it didn't jump to Perry's. No, it's on 5G. Okay. YouTube, though, is not like.
Must not like the subject.
Yeah. Well, it is possible. So again, I'm all open on how to deal with friends and who keep screwing up, whether it's drugs, whether it's a husband or a wife who keeps cheating. The list of sins is endless. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that not enough people have friends who will lovingly counsel them and who will call them on on sin of any kind, of any caliber. So I think keep doing what you're doing. You cannot change their heart. You cannot change their actions. That's not your responsibility nor your capability. You keep counseling and keep praying. I mean, that's truly what is in your court.
Yeah. I often say to always take the high road and you'll never regret it. So I think your job is to not leave something unsaid, because when you leave something unsaid, you could have changed someone's outcome. So Brandy, I don't understand your question. I know that Kaz mentioned limited free will. Can limited free will relate to limited mind brain? How much do we use of our brain minds we use? I'm not sure what you're saying there. Do you saying that people don't use their full mind brains all the time? I agree with that. I think a lot of people cruise on autopilot. How many people?
Scientifically, we do not use our full brain capacity.
Yeah, I mean, most people just cruise through life. I mean, how many times you've driven home and you don't remember the last 5 miles?
Yeah. Well, your brain's doing something else, so it's still busy. But
yeah, I mean, how many of us actually strengthen our brain every day? And one of the best ways to do that is to dive into the Bible and pursue the Lord.
Yeah, usually it's the opposite. We mush it up with social media.
Yeah, we mush it with garbage and Instagram reels. I'm guilty. I like the Instagram reels.
Stuck in the bottomless pit of
scrolls. Yeah. I mean, some of that stuff is pretty cool.
There's a lot of people spending a lot of time to make a video.
Yeah, but I mean, some of those videos are really cool. I mean, that's where I found Ford Ranger.
Forever the soundtrack for our new toy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What else were we supposed to talk about tonight? I know I set some expectations, and I'm trying to think of
all of them. Hard conversations.
As far as it goes with, to close out helping friends who continue to sin, I just want to put an exclamation point on do the right thing. And, as far as you're at, but there comes a point, all right, and we need to talk about this, where if you're at risk of going down the path with them, that you are called to flee sin.
Yes.
So if they're sinning and they are baiting you to join their sin, or you are tempted to join their sin, that's the day you need to get out of there.
Yes.
The nearest AP, I don't know what AP is. I'm sorry. I saw you ask that earlier and I missed that and I apologize. What is the nearest AP? Airport?
If that's airport, there's one in Johnson City.
Chris, there's one in Johnson City. And then the other one, the closest one would be Asheville. And the next closest one would be Knoxville. If that's what airport means. I mean, you could have put a plane on there. I mean, you got emojis.
Use your emojis, Chris. A/P. I'm impressed that you got that.
Yeah, I mean, nearest AP. I'm trying to
really that hard of a word to type out, Chris?
Good afternoon. Holy smokes. Akator Nirmer.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor to you. You got me. You deserve it.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
You are somewhere in a different time zone if it's a good afternoon.
Welcome to the podcast, brother, and I hope you're here for the right reasons. I just told you probably what Danae uses emojis. I mean, at least a plane, I would have known what you were talking about, man. AP, I just thought he's trying to get here for the 700-pound cross carry. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Am I reading your mind? Because I think that's the only reason why I was able to connect to airport. So anyways, to put a bow on that, to all your friends out there who, reoccurring sin, doing things, again, stay in the fight with them as long as you can and help them out. Take the high road, do what you can, unless you're tempted to join them in what they're doing and their sin they're doing.
Yeah.
And
it's bigger than that, Chris.
Yeah, it's bigger than that.
It's potentially going to be more expensive than some of your ones that are a little farther away.
So I think your best shot's going to be Asheville, in my opinion, but that's 45 minutes away. Johnson City is about 20.
Yeah, 2025. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Well, thank you for joining us.
I don't know, worry about the name. I know it's a bit hard. Just go with whatever it's easy to pronounce. All right, brother. I appreciate it. I mean, it's a unique name. I mean, we're getting ready to name, which is Magnus.
He doesn't even know it's a son. He doesn't know.
We don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be a son and it's going to be Magnus. And I appreciate your original name. Just saying. And I'm still really enjoying Rafe.
Rafe's good too.
RAFE.
Mhm.
First time I ever heard that was a testimonial I took on the Hope Report.
Mm-hmm.
And great dude. And it was just a really interesting name. And it's
What do you
Norse.
think? Rafe? Magnus.
Magnus. Come on.
Say Rafe in the same tone.
Rafe. Magnus. Come on. Which one do you guys like more? Lauren, you like Rafe more. Anything but Magnus now, right? It used to be Thor. Couldn't be Thor.
I'm not totally against Magnus. I mean, it would take an adjustment because I haven't come across a Magnus.
You have not? I can just pull up like 5 on screen for you.
No, that's not necessary. Let's find out first whether this is a girl.
All right, if it's a girl,
After
what
all
name?
this.
If it's a girl, what name are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought. See, I don't even think of this until we gender the sex test. It's not worth the brain cells until that's determined.
Yeah, hey,
Awesome. That's great.
Awesome, man. So we're huge fans of Tofu Marine Rapper, and really anyone. Five Finger Death Punch, Bryson Gray, you know, anyone who's on the tip of the spear of the culture war, because that's the only way to change this country. So we are a podcast. We are a Christian, as a conservative Christian podcast that is about, you know, mentoring the next generation or mentoring others to be Christian warrior protectors for them. So I'm glad that you came over here. I really appreciate it. Topher is an amazing guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to have him on again. You know, I think he's the most politically active. Well, him and Bryson are both politically active in it, but
yeah. So I don't know if you've had a chance. So you said you watched him doing his thing, listening to the song, that one video, but then we had them on. We did an interview for about an hour or so.
Yeah, a solid hour on them and their backstory.
Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance, go find.
We were
that.
the first. We were the first. They said we were the first. So we had them on before anyone else had them on.
So go check that out if you like Topher. If you haven't seen that interview, it's a great talk.
What's this I hear? Hold on. Planes been flying in illegals at night in Tennessee. I have not heard that, not seen it anywhere. Share the story because we want to rally the troops right now. Be like, what? That's got to be in Nashville or Memphis. That ain't happening here in Johnson City. I'll tell you that.
Better not be. Does Memphis have an airport? Probably. Or do they?
It's a dump, but
or do they use Nashville?
They must. I mean, they're a big city.
So we have a question about our faith.
Let's see it. Do you mind if I ask you, are you Catholic, Orthodox, Baptist? I understand at the end that all that matters is following Jesus. I'm just curious. So we're non-denominational. So I'm for a direct relationship with Jesus Christ. Catholics, I think, have it wrong. I think they put too many barriers in there. Orthodox, I'm not sure what you're referring to there. And then Baptists incorporate rules that aren't even in the Bible. So again, I think everyone there can be a Christian. The most at risk, I think, is Catholics because they worship other people than Jesus. Worshiping Mary and the saints and all this other stuff. I don't understand that. Again, to me, my life didn't change until I had an intimate relationship with Jesus Christ. So, again, praying to this, that, and the other one, I just don't understand putting that barrier, including a man being a priest,
right,
taking my confession instead of Jesus.
Right.
So
Right.
I hope that answers your question. And again, I'm not here to beat up on Catholics. I think there are some amazing Catholics out there.
Sending them to Chattanooga.
Ah, all right. All right, Chattanooga. He's gonna have to send an awful lot of them here to flip this state, let me tell you. But that's something we need to be on the lookout for. Chattanooga is on the southern border with Georgia, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly. So, and it's a beautiful place. It was one of the places on our map. It was just hot, way hotter than here.
Yeah.
That's the only one of the reasons we're there. But that's near that place that had that flats property up on the mountains.
yeah.
That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, anyways, Acater, I hope I answered your question there, and I hope I didn't offend. My intent was not to offend if I did.
It is centralized, so they are distributing them out to southern states.
Nah,
That makes sense.
that's
They're just trying to get them all out of the camps.
yeah. They got to get them all out of the camps. They got to get them all spread out, and the hope is that they're all going to vote Democrat. Yeah, that answers my question. I wouldn't call myself a Christian, not because I have anything against it. I just has been years since I went to church, but I grew up with people with a similar view.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's get into that for a moment here. So, you don't need to be a Christian to go to church. If you have a relationship with Jesus, you're a Christian.
So I think you said the backers. You don't need to go to church to be a Christian.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
If I minced that up, right? So church is not required. Church is just something that is an easy place for you to go to further your knowledge into the Word of God and have somebody, if you find a good church, which is ultra rare, be able to explain this to you in a way that'll help you apply it today. Okay. So, and then a church will get you around believers that will, watch your back. So, any operator, any tactician, any fighter will tell you, you can't see 360 degrees at the same time. We don't have a heads up display that covers everything, right? So you need somebody to watch your back. And that's what your fellow brothers do, your fellow warriors around you. They tell you, hey, listen, you've stepped off the path. You don't even realize it. You're somebody who normally never cusses and now is cussing constantly. Something's wrong. It's pulling you off the path. What is it? Let's get to the root of it and let's solve this. Or hey, you're flirting with this waitress. Your wife's at home pregnant with twins. What are you doing? Like, what the frick are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, fix this crap now. I love you too much to let you do this. So anyways, I saw a video of Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn talking about the subject that the federal government is doing this without the state's knowledge.
Not surprised there. And DM put in on Facebook put in a link. So it's a Fox News article about sending migrant children to Tennessee.
Well, I'm going to be sharing that on all the boards and groups that I'm a part of.
Rally the troops.
Rally the troops. That's why we came down here, to plug in and be a part of the solution so that they can't steal the state from us like they did with Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Virginia is the biggest catastrophe that ever, when I first moved there in 1996, it was red. And now it's as blue as can be. It might as well be Boston.
Certainly not going to be coming back.
Nope. So Misty Rose said, and that's Joe. I can't remember. I think that's Joe.
I think that,
I think it is Joe. I think he likes to be called Joe. Church is where any two gather in his name. Exactly.
Yep.
If you think about how the church started, Akator, it started with Jesus and a bunch of, a few dudes walking around, right? And then they started picking up. So it was never this big place. It was more a relationship. Yeah, I understand what you mean, and I agree. It's just that in my case, faith in general has moved to the background of my life, but generally I prefer to see a civilization Obviously, civilizations influenced by Judeo-Christian principles are more stable, good things. But what I would caution you with that, or as I would say, there's a book you should read, and I'm going to hold it up for you. And I don't get anything for this. And this is the most. I was a diehard atheist for 37 years. Science, secular educated. Lauren, same thing. And this book changed our life. And I don't get anything for this. It's called "I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist." And let me lift it up right there, by Norman Gessler and Frank Turek. It is the scientific case for Jesus. And I think if you read that, I think it'll change your life, particularly if you're a critical thinker, which it sounds like you are.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not even picking up necessarily, I wouldn't say atheist from him. I mean, so he seemed comfortable with the concept of Christianity and things like that. But so if it's just that you've let other things kind of take precedent over it, that's really easy to change as well if you have the desire to. And, it's going to switch out listening to music in the car to finding a pastor that you are interested in hearing a sermon by and things like that. And so just start adding back in some faith content in there. And I think probably you'll find your heart stirred if you're interested in bringing that back more front and center versus the background.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Frank Turek is great. Again, there are so many champions of the faith out there that are crushing it right now. Ken Graves, Greg Locke are just two. There's
Rob McCoy
out in California. All of them are absolutely amazing. Champions of the faith. There's a guy, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. I was actually invited to go be a part of a protest or a rally to support a New Orleans pastor who has been arrested 6 times.
Oh, wow.
And he has a hearing coming up because he refused to close his church. He was put on house arrest. He refused it. And New Orleans is continuing to pursue charges against him. So, and that's something I'm going to bring up with Ken when I see him. Because I think that is,
let me see if
I think that'd be really important to go to. Thank you for the recommendation. Although I guess my reasons for putting faith in the background were that at some point I had too many questions not get answers. Well, the best part that's why you need a good mentor, brother. Your questions are, we all had questions, and there's so many weak people out there who can't answer them, but the only one who can answer them, as far as all the tough questions, why, just list them off. I don't want to add more to your problem, but there are direct, legitimate answers to those, and they are taken on in this book. This book will answer most of those questions for you in a rational, logical way. And that, it is
also, I recommend if you find yourself liking our podcast, which I hope you are, Jason does on a weekly, it's been a little bit spotty the last month kind of during our move, but with an amazing pastor, Ken Graves, on Wednesdays at 11. So if you go through our podcast history here on YouTube, you'll find references to Ken Graves, and they dive into a lot of those Bible questions that you might come across, some of those ones that you have struggled with in the past.
Like the odds of this being all random chaos would be the equivalent of lightning strikes the desert, and where it impacts, there's an iPhone. And that's still nothing compared to human DNA or any DNA. Right. So, so at a minimum, that book will take you from atheist to agnostic, but you'll see the compelling evidence for the case in Christ that it's true. If it's not true, I'm not going to believe it. Right. Then, I'm not here to, chase after Santa Claus. I'm here because I believe it's true. I mean, if you're talking about somebody who spent a majority of his life, 37 years, slaying Christians with my logic. I mean, my whole purpose was to expose them for phony, weak, crutch-needing people. And then, the truth was shown to me.
He says he watches the pastor on Twitch. Good pastor in his opinion. I like that he isn't afraid to answer tough questions. He doesn't sugarcoat his faith. I like that he isn't a sellout. Well, that's great. That's great that you have a resource.
So then you have a
using.
resource.
That's awesome.
Yep. You want a pastor who's
exploring.
not afraid to do that. So John nailed this. Just believe in Jesus Christ, accept him as your Lord and Savior, and get into a good Bible believing church. That last line is very hard, John, depending on where you live. I mean, maybe if you're in Alabama, you can find a good Bible believing church in every corner.
We've been surprised by how hard it is here.
We've been
honestly.
surprised.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, I thought there'd be Ken Graves in every corner, and it hasn't been that way.
Yeah.
Because why? They're getting them from the same seminaries.
Mm-hmm.
Same corrupt seminaries are, producing the same pastors that are coming here.
Mm-hmm.
So the teachings of God and our Lord Jesus Christ have been given names by men for only creating division. So let's say this. The teachings of God and our Lord Jesus Christ have been given names by men for only creating division and for their need for power and material needs. Are you talking about denominations there? Is that what you're getting at, Joe? Because, I mean, there's a definite distinction between a lot of denominations.
Yeah.
Again, I don't believe that there should be them, but, the difference between Catholics and
yeah, that hasn't made sense to me. It's like, how can let's all be the same religion with there's so many variances in what people are even believing on this?
Well, yeah, exactly. Between, the Methodists who, believe just about any craziness to, to Catholics who are more about ceremony than they are about a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely will. So there was a yes. Would you mind if I ask you a question? If I remember correctly, you're a veteran and a former Navy SEAL, right? That is correct.
Go ahead.
Be happy to answer your question. Oh, he's typing. It's taking a while with the delays back and forth.
So what are you going to do tomorrow while I'm getting the entire house ready for Ken Graves?
I guess I'm watching Baby B.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, I have not watched Pastor Jack Hibbs, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name yet.
Danae, am I going to like him?
She said he's awesome.
Any Calvary? There are. There's a small one called Calvary Chapel Tri-Cities, and that's where we're going to check out.
Yeah, they don't have a kids program though, right?
Yeah, that's
so it's
the
gonna be
problem.
a little harder for us.
They have one; they're just understaffed right now, and
COVID.
because of that, yeah, many pastors here in the South stay away from politics because of the 501c3 shuts the mouth of the pulpits as it was meant to. Yeah, well, you don't have to do that. Ask Ken Graves; he preaches it every week. Ask Greg Locke; they preach it every week, and there's no 501c3 stuff there. The 501c3, if you need. People are hungry for the truth. Speak the truth. If you're hiding the truth and you're not speaking the truth because you want a tax designation, I've got nothing for you. People will donate whether it's a tax write-off or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know all the ins and outs of what complications that would be for them to lose it, but yeah. People certainly do, as you said. The Kens and the Greg's and
they do. And what happened?
Too.
Their churches have grown 400% or more during this for speaking truth, while the lames and the lukewarms and the play it safers are all losing.
Mm-hmm. DM, where do you go to church? Have you said? I can't remember.
No, she hasn't said.
It's a guy, I think.
Or he hasn't said,
yeah.
Sorry.
And John Eldridge is very good. Yes, he has a lot of good content.
Yeah, I mean, I love John. He's one of the most beautiful prayers in the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've been given an assignment.
I'm in. I'll shoot it true. Are there
any? Well, he's probably going to go through are you going to go through your dates?
I'm going to go through my dates and see what he talks about.
All right.
So hopefully he addressed Memorial Day. Hopefully he talked about January 6th in a constructive way. hopefully on November 3rd, he did the right thing, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so you're in the Greenville area. All right. So that's a little far for us, unless it was a fantastic.
I've heard good things about Calvary Chapel, Greenville. I haven't been. Greenville is kind of where I wanted to move. It's for those of you who aren't from the area, Greenville has everything you want without being a city. Is the
It's
way I
an
would call it.
hour west of us here.
Yep. So that's actually where I bought my 4-wheeler,
Yes.
my side-by-side 4-wheeler. So, and it's a beautiful ride out there. It just doesn't have a Trauma One center, doesn't have, it's a little bit further from the airport, et cetera, et cetera. But it's got everything you need, and it's a cool place
It's a
with a
great
lot
option for people.
So I'm still waiting for your question, bro. Come on.
Was that the question?
What was the question?
Just saying that veteran. It didn't seem like that was the question. Confirming that you're the veteran and Navy SEAL.
If that was the question, then easy question.
Easy question.
I was hoping for a little more challenge.
Might come back.
Maybe. But we're getting ready to wrap up. It's been a long night and a long week. And I almost canceled the show tonight. I was so tired before we started and frustrated. Oh, hold on. Here we go.
Do you want to share that?
Yeah, go ahead. You want to read it?
Right, so the question, so it might all fit. Okay, whatever. You've been deployed abroad, and it is my belief that you've seen some stuff. How do you keep faith after all of that?
That's easy, man. The more evil I see, the more I believe in evil. And the more I believe in evil, I believe in the counter evil, because, war is one of the most evil things known to men, but it's also the place where I've seen the most bravery, where people putting themselves second. I've seen heroics. I've seen amazing things where people working against their best interest.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing for an enemy who hates you, for you to risk your life to rescue a wounded guy who was just trying to kill you. There is nothing beyond goodness that produces that.
Mm-hmm.
It's counterintuitive to everything that we are. And I've seen things where there is so much good and there's such pureness in an action that it can't be denied. So I hope that helps you.
And I mean, just as far as for you to understand, he was not a Christian during his time.
No, I was not.
That he was deployed and stuff like that. So, and you would always look at the people who were Christians, who were very active Christians, with a sense of wonder, I think, on kind of, and is jealousy the right word, or and how you saw them, that they had this to help them kind of through those hard times.
So wait a minute, Joe, you used to listen to Joel Osteen, is that correct? I used to listen to Joel to my wife, and I wanted to see him, and tickets were over 50. Never heard of getting charged to hear the word of God. Mm-hmm. Dude, you're talking about one of the falsest prophets out there. That guy's more of a life coach than a pastor. He's never said one hard truth in his life.
Okay, so follow-up question. So the question that is always in my mind is, how is all of this okay? I'm a Mexican American. Yep, the mythical Latino Trump supporter. And I've been to Mexico, seen the bodies, and I don't know, it seems unacceptable.
It's unacceptable because man has made it that way, brother, right? It's not God's job to clean everything up. It's our job to clean everything up, but we always take the easy way out. I mean, if you look at the corruption, particularly in Mexico, but you can look at it here in the U.S., our government's totally, corrupt. Our FBI and our law enforcement agencies nationally, not the local PDs, can't be trusted. Their three-letter agencies can't be trusted. So, man is going to screw everything up. But in spite of all that, there are people who do things for the greater good that is totally contrary to every rational psychological theory out there. And there are great things happening every day. So, you got to stop looking at God to fix everything. God's already won the war. He sent his son, he died on the cross, and all you have to do is turn and accept him. From that point on, you become part of the solution. So if you want to be a solution to this problem, that's how you do it. Secular ways never work. They never work. I mean, I know guys, and we talked about one of them tonight, who's been to every type of therapy you can imagine. And Christianity or Jesus, a relationship with Jesus is the only thing that's going to fix it. So again, I hope that makes sense. There's a lot of evil in the world. Yeah, I've seen babies blown to bits. I've seen people do horrible things to other people. That doesn't make me question the existence of God, and lets me know that there is 100% evil in the world. And the counter to that is the cop who runs into an active shooter and knowing he's going to get shot in the face, or the person who risks their life for people who hate them. I mean, so you can be a naysayer and you can look at all the negative and say, how can there be a God? And then I can show you equally as many good things to say, how can there not be? So I hope that makes sense. And I'm not trying to come off in any certain way. I've been there. I've been you. I blame God for all this other stuff. And there are a lot of hard questions out there with a lot of hard answers. And the first thing you need to get out of the way of is you need to drop your ego and thinking that you're going to understand everything. Right. And this is how I can put it in perspective, or how it worked for me. I consider myself a very intelligent individual. I'm not, school learned or whatever you want to call it, but I have a lot of reason. I have a lot of emotional intelligence. I understand people. I can read motive. I can find holes in people's stories. I've got a skill set. And the way it clicked to me was when I was on, looking up at the night sky in Virginia, and I'm looking at stars, right? And I'm looking up and I'm seeing what my human eye can pick up without any augmentation. And I see what would appear to be the whole picture, right, from my human eye's perspective. Okay. And I'm looking at that. And from my reality at that moment, that's all that's there. Now, I know if I get on a telescope or I get on a million other things, I can see, and all these other augmentation devices, I can see a completely different reality that goes far beyond that. How much greater is the being or the power that created all of this? If I can't process even just what I'm seeing with my eyes, how much greater is he for me to understand than wrapping my mind around the size of the universe and the scope of the universe? So again, I hope that makes sense on the grand scale of all this, that until you check the number one problem with atheists is that 99% of them are arrogant jerks who think they need to know and understand everything. And I wanted to too, because there's safety in understanding. I'm understanding, I can understand it, I can exploit it, I can do whatever I want to do. But once you check that you have a limit to your rational understanding, it's quite humbling. And it kind of changes your reality. So again, I'm not saying you're one of those, and I'm not, I'm just saying in my experience and being one of those. I was a scientist.
Yes.
I was a scientist, and everyone who believed in anything else was just crazy. Easter bunny worshiping crazies. So
he said, I understand that. It seems to me, or at least I think, that like a father, he should be more present in the life of his children. The evil is too strong and plenty for good people to confront.
So let me address that. You live in the
Good night, Brandy.
You live in the safest, most just, least poverty, least starvation in the history of the world right now. Right? There has never been a better time to be alive than now for the masses across the world. We can change climates. We can bring irrigation anywhere. We can do whatever we want. And the only reason why we don't are a bunch of other things. So for those of us who have a relationship with him, he is a kind father, right? But you have to invite him in to your life. He's not a battering ram. God is not going to break into your room and say, believe in me or else. Yes, you have to pursue a relationship with him to be able for him to allow him to send the Holy Spirit into you to fill the places and to heal the wounds that you have. We all have wounds. From the moment we're born to the moment we die, we acquire wounds. These are things that happen in our life, and it's usually abandonment or, or something similar that we all encounter in some certain way. That changes our trajectory for the rest of your life. And until you heal that, like, I think of the seal, like, I lament the seal I could have been if I had been if I had encountered God before then, because I was still looking at everything in this world through my wound of abandonment, and everyone was going to betray me, and this, that, and the other, and I would just burn all my relationships, or I would, it just would always hold back because, I knew they were going to fail me in the end. So I hope that makes sense.
I mean, it's that still small voice, right? Or however you have to be looking for that relationship with God in most instances, and it's going to be not necessarily an in your face relationship. It's going to be the quiet voice that you feel in your gut, and you'll start. Then the more that you start to follow things that you're not even sure necessarily that voice of God, and the more that you become sure that, okay, yes, that was, and that worked out, and I can see why he wanted me to do that. And the more that you then listen to it, the more in tune you become, and you have that relationship. And I think it's just that people aren't looking for it.
Well, they're multitasking and they're busy.
He's not going to go force himself on people who are not interested in that relationship.
Yeah, we need to stop looking to God to fix things, and we need to fix things ourselves as a work to honor God. And that's what it is, because if he comes in and fixes it, no one's going to appreciate it, and we'll be back in the same thing.
Yeah.
So again, these are just our thoughts on this, brother. I wish you
strength and honor for you having the
the
confidence to ask these questions in a public forum. I appreciate it.
All I'm knowing is that if you seek him and you ask him for the answers, you'll find them. There's some great resources out there, particularly on the science front. The Genesis story,
Genesis Project, right?
Genesis Project or Genesis Story, whatever it is, on YouTube. They go in, and without a doubt, if you have any, if you have a scientific mind, you'll be able to see what they're talking about. You'll be able to see how the flood is what shaped the earth. I got 7 kids. All right, here we go. Go ahead, Lauren. Read that.
I've got 7 kids, and I have had to punish them sometimes or let them fall so they would learn. But that does not mean I don't love them the same as God.
Absolutely. And trust me, I struggle with a lot of the Old Testament, and I just have to surrender my understanding to that, meaning God built all this. He's infinitely smarter than I am, and he did things for certain reasons, and I have to accept that I don't understand them. There's a lot of brutality and a lot of genocide committed in the Old Testament. And my compassion in me was my biggest enemy. I would see those babies dying. I would see, people being enslaved. I would see every man put to the sword. I would see, all these things going on. And, it profoundly discouraged me or made me upset. And then I'm like, I need to stop judging God, because what I believe you're seeing in the Old Testament is the standard and the cost of warfare. So as a warrior and as somebody who, who's been there on a scope, I think that warfare has been cheapened to this sterile, no casualties, no innocence lost idea that doesn't work. And that's why we haven't won a war since World War II, other than Saddam Hussein and an outdated military with all the world ganging up on them. Right. So, the way you kill the enemy You go in and you kill everyone. You
Mm.
kill every able-bodied fighting. You destroy their infrastructure, and you go that way. This insurgency garbage and all this other stuff, you can't win it. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
So another question, would you say that the reason there is evil, this much evil, is to give people an appreciation for the good that is and could be? I think God has the tough love we see in old timers, so maybe that's it.
There's some truth in what you're saying there, but God did not intend this to happen. This all happened back, in Adam and Eve, which has been proven. We all come from the same DNA. We all come from the same, the same people. If you take everyone's stuff, they've already proven that from Noah and the flood that we all came from one family.
I saw a little video, someone kind of on TikTok doing being asked a common question of why does God send people to hell? And he said, it's not that God sends people to hell. We are heading to hell automatically, or anyways. That's where we are destined. God gave us a way to not go to hell. So it's, people kind of have that backwards. But there's evil because we are humans and we are filled with sin, and that is what we tend to do. Is there's a lot of evil because we're not all great people.
No, and you can see this, and and the most classic example is, I look at our daughter who's never had a bad day in her life, who we have poured love into her. You're the most gentlest, patient mother ever, and you can see it bubble up, even in a toddler.
Yeah, it's like where she'd never seen hitting, she'd never seen kind of attitude, like any of that stuff, and yeah, it comes naturally to a baby. So where is that from? That's in the human, that's the human condition. And I think part of the reason why there is this much evil is because that's the human condition. And as a society, we have stopped turning to God to temper that evil. We don't have a way to moderate it anymore. And it's just kind of let loose in our country and our world because people are not turning to God. So I don't think it's that God is causing this evil, but he certainly can use it to teach us some lessons.
Yeah, and the reason why evil is so prevalent in the world is because we've turned away from God.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken God out of everything. Atheism is at an all-time high right now. Countries that were champions of Christianity have fallen away to atheism, and they've all debilitated. Every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
America is the last stronghold on the whole face of the earth, as well as now there's an insurgency in China, but I don't know how that's going to play out. So there's a lot of stuff in here. And John, yes, we will pray for everyone tonight and for the lost. Genocide was done in physical, yes, but it was also a picture of what God wants us to do, our sin, cut it off. Yeah, I definitely get that, Dan Brown. It's just so easy, and I'm not saying you're one. I don't know your background. You may be a vet, you may be a cop, you may be a firefighter, you may be a first responder, you may have seen it. It's just easy for people to minimize the carnage that's in that's in the Old Testament. The Old Testament is 100% brutality, and it's meant to be that way. I believe. And, again, this is just my theory. No one's taught me this. No one's agreed with me. But Ken has agreed when I've said it. Is that God is showing us that war is terrible, and that there's only one way to win the war, and that's to destroy your enemy, or else they're going to rise up. Mm-hmm. And every time that we haven't destroyed our enemy, they rise up and we're fighting again. Yeah. Prolonged suffering, prolonged suffering, prolonged suffering, prolonged suffering. So again, war is horrible. We should never want it. It shouldn't be romanticized. It shouldn't be any of those other things. It's a devastating, terrible thing. And instead we've created this new sterile war where, ideally no one gets hurt except for bad guys. Yeah. And it's an impossible standard, and it's something that we can then wage forever.
Yeah.
Enriching the people who want to be enriched. Yeah. And your question, Cater.
Let's finish these thoughts on, and then you can go circle back around on that. So John says, nothing to worry about. Read the book. We win. Amen to that. And then here we go. Chris says, people ask all the time, why does God punish good people? In God's eyes, there are no good people. Per Ken Graves. Yeah. He says that.
And what he means by that is the sinful standard, meaning that God is purity, pure goodness, and that no one can attain that standard except through the grace of Jesus Christ. So instead of trying to meet that standard, we accept Jesus Christ as our Savior. We accept that he lived a sinless life, died for our sins, and rose up to heaven, and now sits at the right hand of God and intervenes for us on his behalf, so that we can, through his grace, through the perfect sacrifice of his son, be able to have a relationship with God. So,
All right. So now you can get to his question. Would you mind if I ask your opinion on the state of the U.S. military?
yeah, the state
How
of
much
the
time do you?
yeah, the state of the U.S. military is a mess right now. We're more worried about, getting transgender people in powerful roles, and we're purging the U.S. military of all the war fighters. Anybody who who believes in the Constitution is being, driven out. Anyone who's a Republican, which is 95%, that's an exaggeration. A vast majority of the military were pro-Trump, and they're all being driven out. Your military is weaker. We are weaker. And it's because China owns this administration. China owns corporate America. China owns the media. And that's why this is all happening. It's all part of their checkmate against us to take over this country without firing a shot.
That sum it up for you.
So,
very well said.
Thank you.
All right. Any last thoughts, questions? Getting more woke every day. Yep, they are.
Yep. Well, the military was the last to go, right? Everything else, the military was the last thing to fall. But the officers have been corrupted in the military for decades. The Mattises and the Kellys and all these trolls who just enrich themselves, working, again, there are no great generals. We haven't won a frickin' real war since World War II. Right? So don't tell me how great they all are. They all suck. They all sold out. And I have no faith in 99.9% of officers.
Yeah.
The end.
Indicator, no problems. We are here to chat with you guys. We are so appreciative that you guys are all interacting so much. It makes it fun. And just for you, since you're a new viewer, we do this Mondays and Fridays at 9 Eastern. And then Jason does his interviews with Pastor Ken Graves at 11 a.m. Eastern on Wednesdays.
All right. Well, we have forgotten to pray out the past few times because I've been so trigger happy with the outro. So Lauren's going to take us out.
Do you want to do it since he asked you to pray for the lost and all that stuff? I feel like that's a good one for you.
Oh, no. I carry the show. You carry the prayer. Go for it. You got this. You got this, baby.
Pressure.
You got this. Come on.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time of fellowship. Especially on a night where we were not even sure we were going to come on air. So thank you for nudging our hearts and telling us that we needed to come on, that there was people here who needed to hear from us and from this community so that they could grow in their own faith and get their questions answered. And we hope that the conversation tonight helps the ears that we're here tonight and anyone who watches this in the future, and just brings people closer to you, Lord. That's why we are doing this. So we are grateful for this platform. And Lord, as we look forward to Memorial Day next weekend, we do want to just take a minute to remember those that have been lost to war, and to people who have taken their own lives as a result to the experiences that they had defending our country. We are so grateful and humbled by their service and their sacrifice, and we strive to never forget it. And many of us go about our daily lives, and we don't recall what it took to give us that life that we are so blessed with, Lord. So please just put it on our hearts to remember that next weekend, but also every day, so that we remain grateful. And thank you for giving those people to us. They are all special. And it takes a special person to put themselves in that position. So thank you for blessing us with them and their lives, however short it may have been. And Lord, please just bless our weekends as we go into it. Give us safe and happy and healthy times with our family and our loved ones. And we are grateful as always for your presence in our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Great job. All right, everyone. God bless you. We love you. If you want to support this program, you can do it several ways. You can like, comment, share, subscribe. Those are all great things. You can go to our Patreon page. You can donate. You can support us. You can also go to our podcasts on Apple and Spotify and all those and give us a 5-star review there. We'd greatly appreciate it. And again, Patriot Crusader Mission is about to become a nonprofit as we can pursue our ministry here, and we really could use your help in that. So we'll keep you updated on that. Also, remember to tune in if you want to catch me and Melissa Hooray, who's my co-host over at The Hope Report. You can catch us there on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's where we take testimonials of people. It's all about good news over there. So if you're tired of hearing about the negative news, you can find us over there.
And that is a different YouTube channel. It's not related to Patriot Crusader Mission. It's go to find The Hope Report.
Yeah, I've been streaming it here just to help you guys find it, but eventually that'll have to end. So God bless you all. I
Good night,
love
happy
each
weekends.
and every one of you. And here is the outro.